When you take a classic IP like Centipede, as we do in this game, and you reinvigorate it, reimagine it, or in this case recharge it, you run the risk of two issues potentially with whatever you do. You want to bring along your retro audience with you by giving them the core experience that they come to know and love, because that will help satisfy that end of the spectrum. But you'll also want to bring in something new so that new audiences can experience things as well. With Centipede Recharged, I'm not necessarily sure that either side of the spectrum are satisfied, because this game is quite light on content, very finicky in the way how it's changed Centipede as an actual core gameplay loop. And in terms of how it feels, not necessarily how it plays. And so I don't think it scratches the itch for either side. So please allow me to explain. With Centipede, if you've never played it before, your screen is divided into thirds, essentially. The top 2/3, you'll have centipedes and scorpions kind of rummaging around, and you need to shoot them and kill them. When you hit a centipede, it turns into a mushroom and leaves kind of like a bumper, because your centipede's a little bit like, if you imagine Space Invaders, it will move left to right and slowly work its way down the screen until it hits the bottom third, which is the bit that only you can actually manoeuvre around in. You can't escape up to the top 2/3. Inside that bottom third, all of the enemies of your centipedes that you haven't killed will just keep on accumulating, so you need to avoid them. Plus you'll have spiders coming in as well, and in this game spiders drop power-ups that will help you either shoot faster, shoot wider, there's a laser one, and there's like a double shot increase type thing, and a spread shot as well as a side shot. These are all helpful and interesting and can help you survive longer in the game, but it is a one-hit, one-kill game. As soon as you touch something that you shouldn't do, it is game over. Your score is logged and uploaded onto the online leaderboards, which seem to be the main thrust of what Centipede Recharged wants you to be getting involved in. The entire game is played in single player or co-op, as are the challenges, and there's 30 of them, where you have specific maps laid out with specific missions, and that could be kill 100 spiders, kill 50 centipedes, don't shoot a mushroom or don't destroy a mushroom, because you can hit and shoot those away so that you can clear the path to make the centipede take longer to get down to you. It could be kill a certain amount of scorpions. Scorpions crawl across the screen and lay more mushrooms for you. All different things as you go along, or simply just survive 2 minutes. As you go through all of that, you'll then upload your scores onto the leaderboards for those specific missions as well. Now, the reason why I say that this doesn't necessarily suit for a new audience as well as the retro one is that there's nothing here beyond that will bring in new audiences. But what they've also done is hark back to a retro look and feel with the graphics. The original Centipede wasn't vector-based. They were what were called raster graphics. And so changing it now to vector graphics might look nice, and it kind of lines it up potentially with your asteroids and your tempests. But actually, when you're playing Centipede in the way how it works on this version, the graphics feel a little bit messy and not great in pulling out colours. Too much purple and green going on, essentially. It doesn't work very well. The other issue around the actual game itself once you're playing it is that the game screen in the playing area is now much wider, suiting the 16 by 9 TV screens. That means that you've got much wider area to cover. That wouldn't be an issue if the game didn't also dramatically slow down your bullet time and your shot rate. And so you now have less bullets to shoot across a wider area, so you're immediately way more disadvantaged. And so instead of this feeling like an arcade game where you can press and hold the shoot button and try and really react around to everything, now it feels like you're immediately overwhelmed and you have to decide what is the best way to survive for as long as possible, because you're immediately countering death problems rather than going in on a arcade balls to the wall style shoot 'em up. It's a subtle change, but it really does affect the way how Centipede Recharged flows as a gaming experience. It's less visceral, but it's not like strategic enough to make it a thinker's shoot 'em up either. It just ends up being kind of this weird unsatisfying hodgepodge, and so that doesn't satisfy the retro gamers who are hoping for something that would be all guns blazing, extreme arcade explosions everywhere, and really tight controls, tight physics, tight gameplay loop. And this is the kind of stuff that Adam Vision Studios, that I've featured quite a lot of their games on this channel beforehand, they've done really, really well on their own. So I'm not quite sure what's kind of happened here with Centipede Recharged that's made this feel slightly shoehorned, restricted, and quite narrow in its scope. So I don't think the retro gamers will love this because it feels less satisfying than the original Centipede. I don't think new people will come in because it feels slow and cumbersome and unfair. And if they're looking for something that is really high up and full of beans in this arcade shoot 'em up, my goodness, you've got tons and tons and tons of this type of stuff out there. And because it's now playing with the vaporwave aesthetic and the vector graphics, they've wandered into Geometry Wars styled territory, and that still is paramount across anything that this provides. So yeah, I think it's a bit of an ill-fated move. However, if you do still want to go in with Centipede Recharged, I do think some people will enjoy it and have a nice short and sharp time with it. Just don't expect this one to be something you'll be coming back to time after time, hour after hour, crawling up those leaderboards. Because for me personally, I didn't find it satisfying enough to keep myself engaged. Keep on playing. A written review will be over on highplayinggames.com. You guys take care, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.